All
Alrighty, welcome along to the Cult Popture Movie Club. This is our monthly club over on from our Patreon, from patreon.com/Cult Popture, where if you want to join our Cult Classics tier for $15 a month, you can come in and chat to us about a movie. And this month we are going to be talking about Crazy Stupid Love. And we are joined by three of our lovely patrons.
You said crazy.
Oh my God.
Wait, it's not Eat, Pray, Love?
Eat, Crazy Love. So today on the call, we've got myself, AJ, we've got other Cult Popture host, Richard. We've also got Vincent, Michael, and Brent. Welcome along, guys.
Hello.
Hey, thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you. So, is everybody's watched the movie, or did Brent really watch Crazy Rich Asians as a joke?
God, wouldn't that be so awful if we all agreed to watch one movie and then one person intentionally watched the wrong movie?
I think that could be mined for comedy with the right host.
That would be so taxing on a relationship. You know,
I would pay a lot of money to see that, though.
Would you pay $1,000?
I pay $2.
Alrighty.
Sub to our OnlyFans come October 1st.
Come.
We're pivoting to OnlyFans.
There's some pretty X-rated content. The destruction of a friendship.
The friendship gets destroyed.
It'll get banned from OnlyFans. Cool. So, Crazy Stupid Love is directed by Glenn Ficarra and John Requa. Two names I do not know how to pronounce. It stars...
You made that quite obvious.
Steve Carell, Ryan Gosling, Julianne Moore, Emma Stone, Marissa Tomei, and Kevin Bacon, amongst a cavalcade of other actors. And
Jonah Bobo.
You'd probably recognize. What's his name? John Carroll Lynch is a
Josh Groban.
Josh Groban. Yeah. Joey King. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of people in this movie. It came out in 2011. It'd say rom-com.
How'd they get Joey King?
How did they get it?
He was just born.
So does anybody want to? This is a movie which, if people are watching this, we put this on our YouTube channel more for perpetuity as opposed to necessarily if people want to watch it. But if you are watching this, you should watch this movie first because there's some pretty hefty spoilers that I think this is an example where knowing what happens in this movie will dramatically affect how much you enjoy it. And that's all I'll say on that before just a general
It's a rom-com, but it's not just like they end up together isn't spoilers, you know. Yeah. It's like it actually is a bit more complex than that. And I would say as well, like I've gone on record saying like I fucking love this movie. It was my favorite movie of 2011. Strong recommend before we get into spoiler territory.
As what I would also recommend, I also ranked it number one for 2011, which is, to be honest, maybe more of a statement on 2011 than it is on this movie. But I do genuinely love this movie, and more so, the way I've always described this movie to people is like, if I were to make movies, this is kind of the movie that I would want to make. Like this genre, it's a familiar, tried and true format, but there's clearly like really excellent writing and really excellent character arcs and acting behind it. So does anybody want to? We'll go around. Does anybody want to say what the plot of the movie is? Does anyone want to give that a go?
Well, Vincent almost certainly did it last month, right? So I guess I could go. So the spoiler-free version of the story is that Steve Carell's character Cal is getting a divorce from Julianne Moore's character, Julianne Moore. No, I don't know. Emily. Okay, so they're getting. She proposes a divorce. Because she's sleeping with David Lindhagen. And so he goes out and he gets a little apartment, and he goes to an apartment or to a bar in like a hip swanky bar that he's never been to, where he runs into Ryan Gosling. Ryan Gosling basically like Cinderella's him, like he
Red
takes
pills
off
him.
the covered overalls and all that stuff, makes him a handsome man so he can go out and meet women, and learns a little something about himself along the way, right? And all at the same time, Ryan Gosling is going from being this playboy, questioning his own identity as this, forever bachelor type, when he meets Emma Stone's character. Again, I never remember the name.
Hannah.
Nana
Banana. Right. And so he meets her. They have a little thing, and he starts thinking, well, maybe I want to be more of a settle down type guy. Then, with the spoilers, is the last 5 minutes of the movie, is when you find out that everyone's related to each other, basically. That Emma is the other child that was basically never mentioned for the rest of the movie, between Steve Carell and Julianne Moore. That you see they have 2 kids, but he says, what about our daughter? No, our other daughter. And then she walks in with Ryan Gosling. Everyone starts fighting because everyone's pissed off at everyone, because they realize like Steve Carell doesn't want Hannah to be with Ryan Gosling's character. And then the other guy,
David Lindhagen, shows up.
David Lindhagen's there, so Steve Carell starts fighting him.
Yeah.
The other guy comes in to fight Steve Carell, the babysitter's dad, because the babysitter's been obsessed with Steve Carell. Didn't even mention them before.
Yeah.
All of these are
Did you
fully
even watch
fleshed
the
out
movie?
subplots and stuff.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, it's almost like a converging storylines, like multiple storylines kind of movie, but it's balanced very well, and they feel organic to each other.
I would say this is maybe an A+ example of what a converging storyline movie should look like, in that the moment of converging is like this is a real good movie, but it has one of the best scenes of all time in it, I think.
Yeah.
And that's what propels it. And it's that converging where they all find out. It's not only that Steve Carell finds out that Ryan Gosling is dating his daughter, at the same time you find out that Emma Stone's his daughter. It's also John Carroll Lynch coming to beat up Steve Carell because he thinks he's having a relationship with his daughter, and also David Lindhagen shows up. It is such a satisfying, relentlessly funny fight scene that I remember the way people talk about this movie, if you haven't seen it, is like, oh my God, watch it. Because it's like, I cannot tell you why you need to watch it. Yeah. But there is something that happens in this movie that is a cut above anything else of its genre. And I love that in any genre, but I especially love it in a genre that's as hard to do anything interesting with these in this day and age as a rom-com. And I think this proves how powerful rom-coms can be when you actually give a shit, when you actually try. Like, I don't rank a lot of rom-coms as 10 out of 10, but this one I do.
Yeah. Had everyone seen this movie before?
No.
Yes.
Yeah,
No.
I owned it.
Oh.
First time.
Yeah, one of the first movies I ever bought on Blu-ray. But Michael, so tell us about what was your experience like watching it for the first time?
Yeah, so it's my first time yesterday. I did not know anything about it. I'm sure we'd talked about it previously, but I was watching the first half on my own, and my partner joined for the second half, and she's like, you got to watch this bit, I sort of got a bit distracted with work, and then I was like, okay. So I rewound and rewatched the section, and I really enjoyed it. I didn't see the plot twist coming. When it got to the end, when they said, oh, Nana, whatever they call it, I was like, oh, well, they mentioned it a few times across the story, so there's a few.
Because at the start, when they're getting the divorce, he's got, he goes, I'm going to have to tell Nana. Cool. And you just assume he means Nana. Yeah.
I really enjoyed like especially like some of the transition devices are really like great for passing time. So sort of showing all of Carl's dates, a really enjoyable movie, and I definitely recommend to watch it. It's really good.
Yeah, I think like that's it's such because I completely lost my words there.
Can't cut that out of we cut all those out of the podcast usually.
You do it too.
Yeah, I do.
All right, yeah, Vincent Breen, what are your like first kind of experiences with the film?
For me, it was like one of those usual things. I saw like trailers for it in other movies. I'm like, oh, that looks kind of like dumb and like tropey and all that. But then I had a friend who saw it and is like, dude, you gotta fucking see it. It's so good. I'm like, okay, I like Ryan Gosling enough, so I'll go and see it. And holy fucking shit, this movie's so good. And I'll tell you, watching it again, it makes you appreciate all the build up to the climax. Like, for starters, like the way that when Steve Carell's son gets in trouble, you don't see the teacher until the big reveal that it is the teacher that went on a date with Steve Carell is there to after hooking up with Steve Carell. Like, it's so good at like, oh my God, I appreciate it more me watching it over and over, and it made me believe in love again.
Yeah, and it almost does the same twist twice in the movie. And so that's the second time it happens, you're expecting it even less because you've already been like given what feels like the like serendipitous moment. But
I had seen it like I'd seen all of it over about 3 different watches. Like I'd watch some here, it would show up on TV, watch some and when I saw the ending in the second time that I watched it, and then I went back and saw more of it. But this was the first time I've actually watched it all the way through. And now I don't think I can ever not watch it all the way through. Like, it was so satisfying as a big whole piece, as opposed to trying to, get little bits in here and there.
For sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah. This was like one of the first movies I bought on when I first got a Blu-ray player, and it must have been like in the bargain bin, because I think I got it in like 2011 or 2012, and it was like one of those like new releases that quite quickly moved to the bargain bin, and I was like, oh yeah, this came out last year. I haven't seen it. And yeah, it was one of those like multi-packs. So it's also like the only movie I've ever bought off of iTunes because I like redeemed the code. And so when I go into like the videos on my iPhone, it's like Crazy Stupid Love is available. It's not downloaded, but it's like always there. But yeah, I mean, I've seen this movie like a bunch of times. It's so good. It's just like endlessly satisfying. It's such like it's a feel-good movie. It's like a rainy day movie. It's one of those ones you can put on anytime. And once you've seen it multiple times as well, it's the kind of movie you see on TV, you will watch it through to the end. It's just, it's one of those like happy place movies for sure.
One thing I really love in this movie is and I apologize if I reveal myself to be a cliche loving soft boy here, but I'm so
Ryan Gosling.
No, it is about Ryan Gosling though. Ryan Gosling's character Jacob, it's such a satisfying character arc to have this character introduced at the start of this movie in a way where it almost feels like the movie is saying like, this is the guy you want to be, and then by the
Tyler
end,
Durden,
by the end it's like he's not the guy you want to be. And I the romantic in me sings joyously when I think about how like the arc of that character is like, I'm gonna fix the schmuck loser so that he can pick up more women because he needs to be more like me. And then by the end of the movie he realizes he needs to be more like Steve Carell. It's such good character arc work. And like there's a scene where after he finds out that Ryan Gosling's dating his daughter, where they meet in a bar and they haven't been talking to each other, and Ryan Gosling's basically like, I'm in love with her, what do we do here, because your friendship is important to me. And Steve Carell's like, you don't deserve her, she's too good for you. And he's like, I agree. And it's such a good moment because it's almost like it's like they each have a problem in front of them. It's almost unemotional in a way that it's more like, we've got to solve this problem because I agree I'm not good enough for her, but I'm in love with her. And it's so sweet. And he doesn't quite say like, he says like, all this time I thought you needed to be more like me, but and you fill in the blanks yourself.
Falling in love wasn't part of the plan.
Falling in love wasn't part of the plan, man. It's so good, and like I love all the character arcs in this as well. But like that one specifically is like one of those things where it's like Ryan Gosling could have not been in the second half of the movie. And I'd still be like, yeah, it's pretty good. And like, he's just this example of a character that you forget about by the midway point. And Steve Carell learns, no, yeah, but they keep him in there. And there's this wonderful scene where him and Emma Stone first hook up, and instead of having hot guy from the bar sex, they just talk all night. And it's just really like incidental things about their life. And it's such a sweet scene. It really elevates the movie, I think, because it feels like it'd be such a hard thing to write. You'd almost just tell the actors to improvise that kind of stuff on set.
Yeah, I think like Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone obviously start opposite each other in quite a lot of things. And it's like you keep coming back to them because their chemistry, like they clearly, love each other dearly. But I will say one thing about this film though. What does everyone think of the title?
I kept on getting it wrong. I kept on thinking it was Crazy Sexy Love. And I was like, Googling it. And I was like,
then he saw a video he didn't want to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, Michael, what do you think of the title now that you know it?
I mean, now that I know it's Crazy Stupid Love, it makes sense. But I mean, there's so many other titles you could come up with, like Crazy Sexy Love, or
for example,
Ryan Gosling's abs. Like, there's just so many different like titles to describe.
We're gonna bang.
Yeah,
We're Gonna Bang. So it was developed on the working title Untitled Marital Crisis Comedy. But the Steve Carell hates the title. He said he couldn't imagine a group of college guys saying 5 tickets to Crazy Stupid Love, please. There was a working title that he preferred, which was The Wingman, which he said is a boring title, but it more accurately kind of conveys the plot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's similar to Love Actually, and that it's like, I mean, it becomes part of the pop cultural, zeitgeist that you don't really think about it too much, but it is kind of a stupid title.
Love Actually is better because they say it in the movie, and it carries meaning, whereas they never say Crazy Stupid Love in this, which maybe they needed to. I don't know. Yeah, what does anyone have any other better titles they can think of? The Wingman's interesting,
Crazy
but
Sexy Love.
I feel like the Wingman doesn't convey the converging storyline aspect, which Crazy Stupid Love definitely does. Do you know what I mean? The Crazy Stupid Love is like, this is a movie about love in all its different forms and all its different, that comes across.
If I saw a poster for a movie called The Wingman and it had Ryan Gosling on it and it wasn't a remake of Top Gun, I would be pissed.
The Wingman almost has the opposite problem, whereas like you can't imagine a group of like women going like, 4 tickets to The Wingman.
They go like 4 tickets to that Ryan Gosling movie, please.
The two examples are both like opposite sides of the demographic spectrum, and it feels like they can't think of what's the one that's supposed to be in the middle. I'm trying to think of any like memorable lines from it that could be the title. David Linderhagen cuckolded me.
Yeah, it's funny that's the other thing as well, is that like for a rom-com that came out 10 years ago, the classic kind of this didn't age too well fodder, these kind of movies. But the only thing that I think dates the movie is that Steve Carell says that we don't say cuckold enough anymore.
I agree. Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is surprisingly not outdated. I think you could say like, but Ryan Gosling's a creep in it, but it feels very much like the movie is leading you up the garden path before being like, hey, guess what? This life is unfulfilling. Like, love is a lot better than doing this. And I think that's really,
I think sweet. It's like, because you compare him to a character like Barney from How I Met Your Mother, which is around the same time. Yeah. And Barney's like, manipulative and evil and does like all these horrible things to get women into bed. Ryan Gosling is just charming. It's not like he shows them like, you lie to these women. It's more about like, how to get women talking about themselves so that they associate you with like, positive conversation and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, he's actually not really manipulative. And then when he actually gets a girl home and we see what happens when they come home, it's this kind of cheesy thing that he's like, yeah, I work dirty dancing into the conversation because I can do the lifting them up thing. And you find out that he has these insecurities and stuff like that. And I think it's like, yeah, you never quite go into the like full like red pill territory. It's just like, yeah, this is just a charming dude who dresses nice. And I think that's why the film works, because at no point do you ever, even watching it with 10 years later with like a post Me Too lens, you're never really like, oh, Ryan Gosling's towing the line a little bit.
Yeah it's just like, it feels like everyone knows what's happening when he's flirting.
What I really like when you mention that dirty dancing scene is that within the movie, like within the text, it is obviously self-aware. He's explaining to her, this is my shtick, this is what I do, this is my big move, right? And then he says, and I'm gonna do it and it's gonna work. And then he does it and it works on her. But it also worked on us as the audience. Like I was just as caught up in how wonderful that moment was, even though I knew it was very, scripted or telegraphed. It still felt effective to me because even though he was talking about this is it, like that's all, I like that it worked on two different levels.
Yeah,
that's really good.
Going back to what else they could have titled it, I'm looking at quotes from the movie to sort of look for inspiration, like if you could
Battle of the Sexes,
reverse engineer a title book. One really funny thing is on the Rotten Tomatoes quotes, they've misquoted it as "you are the perfect combination of perfect and cute," which is not the line. It's sexy and cute. And sexy and cute could be if they played up that the movie is about the split difference between the two. I think sexy and cute could be a good title. I kind of like Better Than the Gap as a title. Like even without knowing it's referring to the Gap as in the store, I think that's still like kind of like an intriguing title, Better Than the Gap. Or
I'm worried you might have AIDS.
A quote from Ryan Gosling in the movie, I am wildly unhappy. Wildly unhappy could be a fun, like it's be like, or like what's a word that means like what, replace wildly with something like sexy, right? Sexily unhappy, that's shit. but I two juxtaposing terms, I guess, so which is sort of what Crazy Stupid Love is as a title.
I bet they started with sexily unhappy and worked back to Crazy
Yeah. 79% on Rotten Tomatoes, by the way.
It should be better than that. It's such a good script.
It should be 100%. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
So there were a couple moments like the movie feels, and I put this in my Letterboxd review, but it's very what you would call like classic Hollywood. So like, that kind of 50s, 60s era of cool. You get a lot of that from Ryan Gosling. But then also in the script, it's really quick and witty. It reminds me a lot of His Girl Friday, which was that they had a lot of that really fast banter in it. And specifically, one of the scenes that I like beyond like all of the cool suave stuff that Ryan Gosling does is whenever Steve Carell and Julianne Moore are outside in the garden and she's like trying to explain her midlife crisis to him, and she's like, oh, we just grew apart, blah blah blah, and he won't answer her at all. He only talks about the garden, like, okay, you're gonna need to water these petunias every 2 weeks or whatever he's saying. And it's like it was very evocative of that era of where things kind of felt it's almost campy, but it's not. Like it's
about what they're not saying.
It's drama school. It'd be a good scene to give like community theater actors to
right. I was thinking
they're probably fucking up though.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. because it's like she's saying what they're actually thinking, and it's like on paper he's just talking about the garden, but obviously his motivation is I want you to feel guilty. You know?
How many times, unless anyone's already read the IMDb page, how many times do we think that the name David Lindhagen is said in the film?
Oh,
69.
hey,
32.
I'll say 25.
Joe?
I'm gonna go left of field here. It's never said. It's one of those things. It's like Luke, I am your father, where like people always remember the line, but it's actually never said in the film.
Now, are you also counting the Linda Hagans that are in there?
Well, it's like, I don't know if it's counting just Lindhagen, because there's a few times when they say, all right, listen here, Lindhagen, they're like Lindhagen.
Yeah.
And so, but only 19 times.
So
how many times do you reckon
by the Price is Right rules, AJ wins?
Yeah.
Who's the closest?
How many times do you reckon cuckold is said?
14.
10.
Yeah.
No, I
16.
can probably. I think it's only like 4 or 5 times.
AJ wins against 8.
Yeah.
I love it that the IMDb trivia page has a few of these like just really obscure, like piecing things together. Like this film marks the second time that Kevin Bacon has played the romantic antagonist to a cast member from The Office after Super with Rainn Wilson. But one interesting one I mentioned at the start, Jonah Bobo, who, if you've listened to our podcast on Jumanji, you'll recognize that name from he was in Zathura. That Julianne Moore plays Robbie, Jonah Bobo's mother in this film. She played Josh Hutcherson's mother in The Kids Are All Right and Kristen Stewart's mother in Still Alice. So she's played mother to all of the 3 siblings in Zathura in different films.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
What about for a title, Hugh Hefner's ballsack?
I went
it's going to be my role for this episode of Movie Club, because I'm going to be.
I went to a bar like years ago, and was with my girlfriend at the time, and they gave us 2 drinks. Like we ordered, some kind of cocktail. Ordered 2 of them. He put them down. Her one had a straw in it. My one didn't, and she was like, oh, can we get another straw? Like, what are you doing? And he was like, oh yeah, I don't give straws to guys. Have you seen that movie, Crazy Stupid Love? Because and I was like, yeah, I love that movie, but like, that's weird.
Yeah.
that you like just on principle, no, like never give a guy a straw.
I wonder if he was like sitting at home watching the movie and he like still has his apron on from work, and he pulled out his little notepad where you take the notes. It's like, oh no, don't give guys straws.
He like goes home that day and he's like, fuck, can't sleep, losing sleep because of it.
Stupid.
Crazy stupid love.
One of the it's under the spoilers section. Ryan Gosling actually eats his cereal.
Yeah, there's that one shot of him eating cereal. It's so out of place.
Do you understand this?
Yeah, it's a meme,
so
right?
It's a vine of him.
Yeah.
That like this guy would like just watch Ryan Gosling movies on TV and then like put a spoonful of cereal up to him as he would be like and turn away from it. And it was like this reoccurring thing. And then the guy who made those vines actually passed away. And then Ryan Gosling created a Vine account, only ever uploaded 1 video, and it's just him with a bowl of cereal being like, and finally eating his cereal in tribute to the guy, which is actually really nice.
Good man.
Nice.
What
do people think of the one thing in this movie that I think when people watch they go, is that at the end of it, the babysitter who's 17 gives her nude Polaroids to the 13-year-old who's in love with her. Discuss.
Yeah.
It's hot.
It was an odd relationship.
Yeah. I think it's maybe an ever so slight misstep to leave the movie with the 13-year-old boy. What's his name? Fuck.
Robbie.
With Robbie in some aspect getting the girl. I think that's a dangerous dynamic to play with. I think it's still like when they are in their 20s, it's not that bad of an age gap, but what do you guys think? Does anyone have any specific thoughts on that?
Well, let me ask you, explain to me why it's bad that he gets the girl.
Because she is a lot older than him. Well, not a lot older, but older enough from him. Then it's
Demi Moore's 15 years older than Ashton Kutcher. They seem happy. That also dates the movie.
Yeah, I guess it fringes on a little bit pedophilic. I guess is right. That's the problem. That's what people's issue with it is. Right, is that it's a little bit not cool. I guess. Yeah.
But yeah, I guess
I'm open to it being fine. I think it's very dangerous to give a 13-year-old physical copies of your naked body. I think that's very dangerous.
Yeah, he'll rip his fucking dick off.
I wonder if it would be better if they would have made it a bit more, not more vague, but made the like the gifting of it, like maybe instead of her literally handing him to him, maybe she like drops him on the ground in front of him and gives him like a wink, maybe not a wink, but you know, like, oh no, here they are, and then she leaves so he can pick them up himself. Maybe that would make it a little better. I don't know. I mean,
maybe he just goes to Pornhub like a regular teenager.
Yeah.
Back before they got rid of all the.
I guess I'm worried that in real life it would mess up the kid. But who knows?
Because Jessica Riley is a very attractive young girl. And yeah, I mean, yeah, when you're 13, you've peaked.
Yep.
Another scene I really like in this movie is the sort of the climax, which is Robbie doing his speech at graduation where he declares
this is interesting because it kind of flip-flops for me. Like, I think maybe 5 years ago I would have said, like, if we were talking about Crazy Stupid Love, I would have said like, oh, it's almost a perfect film, but it's a bit too rom-commy at the end with his speech, and then Cal standing up and being like, oh no, actually, like, love is blah blah blah.
Love,
and
actually.
It's like
that part feels very Love Actually.
Yeah, it's so, like, I don't know if you guys have seen Trainwreck, the Amy Schumer movie, which is like, again, it's like a great subversive fun. Bill Hader's great in it. LeBron James is the best actor of his career. But that it's like it's this fun subversive rom-com, and then it does like the most cliche rom-com ending. And it's like it's a more disappointing there, but I think it's like it's Crazy Stupid Love isn't even really subversive up until that point. It's just clever, and so I think that's now why I have come around to that scene a bit more, because it's not out of place.
Yeah, and I like it. And if I don't know how well known this is because it's something I talk about all the time. I've talked about it on the podcast, but it's probably not often enough. But one technique I really like, I read it in a screenwriting book years ago, and I think it's such a good storytelling technique, is the now maybe somewhat dated terminology of male and female storytelling, or internal and external storytelling. And my favorite film endings are a combination of the perfect combination of sexy and cute, the perfect combination of internal and external storytelling. So my favorite example is the ending, the climax of About a Boy, when we interviewed one of the directors of About a Boy.
He's actually explained to the director why it was a good ending.
No, but he talked it back to us, and he
agreed.
Have people seen About a Boy? Yeah. Do you mind if I reveal what happens in the end, Michael?
Yep, that's fine.
It's a boy.
Broadly, it's a story of like a man in his late 30s bonding with a 12-year-old boy, and they each make each other better through the older guy learning to be more sensitive and the younger guy learning to be cooler, basically. And the big climax is Nicholas Hoult, who's the 12-year-old. He decides he's going to perform Killing Me Softly at his school talent quest in order to cheer up his suicidal mother. And he's going to do this, and Hugh Grant, who plays the older guy, is like, this will ruin your life if you do this. And so he races to the school, and just as he's performing and everyone's booing him, Hugh Grant walks on with a guitar and like improves the performance. And it's this beautiful combination of like, this is physical, like an external beat where he's playing guitar in front of people. It's like a set piece almost, but it's also like a beautiful emotional beat of like, this is also this friendship reaching its crescendo. And like, it is, to quote the movie, it's Stu Grant committing social suicide on himself to save his friend, right? And I love that ending. And another example, I think, is the ending of Little Miss Sunshine. It's very, very similar vibe of like of the dance at the end, and they all like the upping the stakes as they all get on and start dancing with her. And like, it's such a joyous moment because it's like, that's the only way to create a cathartic release out of that awkward situation, right? And when we interviewed Chris Weitz, who co-directed About a Boy, he said that they had to treat the end of About a Boy as if it was a rom-com ending. And they said it's essentially Hugh Grant running through the airport to stop a 12-year-old boy from getting on the plane, right? And even though Crazy Stupid Love is technically a rom-com, the dynamic in that scene isn't between lovers. So I kind of count it as also being part of this like kind of cool example of how to create a really thematically satisfying ending that also uses like physical gestures and external stakes. And I really love that. I love that it's the speech, and it's the key element to this is someone's got to do something socially really awkward. I think that's what is the commonality across those three examples is Steve Carell in Crazy Stupid Love has to stand up and defend his son's terrible graduation speech, and it's this gesture of love, and it's this really cool moment. And I think it's really good. I'm workshopping a little idea for a video about these sorts of things, and I thought grand platonic gestures could be a cool title for it, like a cool way of how to write a real satisfying ending to like a character dramedy, you know, is these grand platonic gestures. And so I think that's
Crazy
a really
Sexy Love as a title.
That's good. That's good.
I just found out another fun fact about the titles. The filmmakers offered a free iPad on set to whoever could come up with a title for the movie.
Michael, you could have gotten a free iPad.
Oh, damn. Always wanted an iPad.
Gen 1 iPad.
Do you guys know much about the Glenn Ficarra and John Requa? Their careers kind of interesting. The films they've directed are I Love You, Philip Morris was their debut, Crazy Stupid Love, Focus, that like Will Smith, Margot Robbie movie, and Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, the one with Tina Fey. And then they also, the most recent thing though that they've worked on was they wrote Jungle Cruise.
Huh? What?
Yeah. But they paired with, it's them two plus Michael Green, who wrote Blade Runner 2049 and Logan. So the Jungle Cruise is the perfect combination of Blade Runner 2049 and Crazy Stupid Love. Also, apparently, as of August 2017, Ficarra and Requa are in final negotiations to co-direct and co-write a film featuring Harley Quinn and the Joker set in the DC Extended Universe with Margot Robbie and Jared Leto reprising their roles.
That's right. I think I read that at the time.
Wow.
Mm.
Well, you took a really interesting thing and made it just suck the life out of it.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyone else got any other just like favorite bits or jokes or lines that they want to highlight?
Observations.
I love the moment when Steve Carell is using his Velcro wallet and just Ryan Gosling. He is so disgusted, and it's so good.
Yeah, because he does it a couple of times to be like, yeah. But the first time he does it, when he's like, when he goes to pay for something, and he holds the wallet off screen, and it's such a good moment that it's like it's below the screen. You just hear like, and it fucking tells you so much, and you don't even see the wallet. It's so good, and it's like I wonder if it's one of those things where it's like Steve like missed his mark lifting it up, but they were like, it still works. Like, yeah.
So one thing I did want to say is that this movie, like, it almost feels like it was, I mean, this is obviously hindsight, but so both Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling were kind of like crossing their superstardom with this, because Emma was really coming up and Ryan Gosling was a well-known name, because this was
this was the film she did after Easy A.
Right. And
which also references the Scarlet Letter.
But yeah, so it felt like she was acting her ass off. She was so good in this. We haven't really, we've talked about it in general, but when I think about the scene, like the scene, everyone, you look like you're photoshopped.
The one F-bomb in the film as well.
The fuck is so good.
It's such a good F-bomb. I can't believe we didn't. Did we talk about it on our F-bomb episode?
I don't think so.
I don't think you did.
It's such a good F-bomb. It's one of those like exists outside the confines of the film because it's what the audience is saying at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much all I want to say. It was a great F-bomb.
I love her face when she's like, "We're gonna bang." Like, it's such a funny, like, it's such a good piece of comedic physical acting from Emma Stone.
Yeah, like Emma Stone is like one of the most insanely charming and likable actresses. Like I said this that we did a Patreon episode on Cruella, and it's like literally because that film starts with like you see young Cruella, and then she ducks her head out of frame, and then it comes back up. It's Emma Stone, and I was just like, God, I've missed you. Like, I forgot how much I love Emma Stone. Yeah, she's incredible. Do you know Ryan Gosling's last film was First Man?
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
I just haven't seen him in anything in 3 years.
Fuck.
I've got one more point to add.
Yep.
So it's probably it's a very baseless point. I'm not going to have any facts about that stuff. But did anyone else not want the Cal and Emily to get back together?
Yeah. I think it's like, it kind of would have betrayed like the whole character arc, that because how does Emily like end they don't end up back together, do they?
No, they just stare at each other at the fucking graduation.
I actually think it's a good example of how to take a story about a betrayal in a marriage, and like I feel it convinces me that they should get back together, like, which is rare. It's very hard for me to watch a movie where I can actually forgive someone for cheating on someone else. But I think the both sides are presented really well on this, and I think crucially as well, Kevin Bacon's very funny, and so
that's the thing is like they're like it would be so easy to just write David Lindhagen as like an evil dude or like a douchebag. But it's like you see them on a date together and it's like he's a little bit goofy and he's like trying his hardest, and you can tell that he just has a crush on Emily. And it's like I love the characterization of David Lindhagen, because I think I remember him being a bad guy in the film. But like when he shows up and then Ryan Gosling's like, "You're David Lindhagen," right? Takes off his ring. It's so good.
And when the son, when he's at work with Julianne Moore after they leave
he raises the seat.
They have that little interaction. So so you're the reason my parents broke up. Oh, it's so good.
It's great. It's great because it's always fun to see like a seasoned vet like Kevin Bacon act against like someone like Joe, who's like just a kid, right? And just see the mutual respect between actors there. It's always real fun to see that it's like, I can act with this kid.
But like just on, I think the whole thing about whether or not they should get back together, I think the film ends in like a good place of like, because he says like he'll never give up on Emily like in his big speech, but I think it's kind of like this thing. It's like, well, okay, you've broken the vows of our marriage and we are probably better off apart. But I think it's rather than getting back together, they're kind of like reconciling a little bit. That like, I think they end the movie realizing they probably shouldn't be together anymore, but they don't hate each other. And I think that's kind of more of a satisfying ending, that it's like you're getting they're platonically getting back together almost, rather than re-entering a kind of romantic relationship.
Without getting too heavy, I think the movie does a really good job with them at showing that like when you have kids, you may get divorced, but you will never get separated, right? Like you can't unring that bell, so to speak. Like, you have kids, your lives are now intertwined, and they got these 3 kids, one of which we didn't know about most of the movie, but and so they, like you say, there is a level of platonic, maybe even like what you would call like phileo love, like a brotherly, almost a camaraderie between them, just because of their experiences together, that you see, and that they recognize. And so whether or not they romantically connect again, they sort of make peace with each other, right? And that's what's going to be important for their little family unit as they all move forward with their different relationships that we've seen.
One scene that I'm surprised hasn't come up, and I feel like it's like a classic AJ scene, I feel like, is when Cal pops back to the old house to like tidy up the garden a couple of times, and there's a scene where he can see inside the house that Julianne Moore is like, he gets a phone call from her and he can see her making the phone call. She's just standing in the study, and she says like, hey, the pilot light's just gone out, I'm just down here in the basement, can you help me relight it? And he walks her through it while he knows that she's just standing there, and she says, okay, I'm down here now, yep, I'm opening the door. And he can obviously see that she's lying, but he goes along with the whole thing. And it's one of these, like, again, it's like it's like what they're not saying, because the entire conversation is literally just about relighting the pilot light, but the way it's staged and the way they're talking, it says so much. It's such a good scene.
Yeah, it feels like a dream realization from a screenwriting perspective, of knowing you need that emotional beat at that point in the movie and trying to work out a way to put it in there that's also filmically interesting and does something unique with the narrative. And I think, yeah, it's a really good moment.
I just had an idea while you were saying all of this. There's a song by the Drive-By Truckers, which was Jason Isbell. He was in that band before he did his solo stuff, but the song is called Goddamn Lonely Love. And that might be a better title than Crazy Stupid.
Lonely Love.
Goddamn.
You can't put goddamn in a movie title. This is America.
God dang.
Gosh darn.
Or I guess if no one has any other little, tidbits they want to talk about, we can work out what we're going to watch next month through our very roundabout means of
making this thing more interesting for people.
Got 2 more people this month, so it works.
Yeah. Hey! So basically how we do this, everyone, is that we were just drawing a random number which corresponded to a cult classics list, but we were finding cult classic movies were often quite old and quite hard to get through. And I think the likes of Dr. Zhivago didn't attract a lot of people to come to Movie Club. So what's the system we've got now, Richard?
So it's like we generate a random number and we get a movie, and then we can swap it for a movie that's just turned 10 years old in the last month, but you don't know what that movie is. Before you swap it, you can ask as a group, you can ask one question about the movie.
Oh, okay.
About the movie that came out 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So do we get to know what was added, or would that ruin this game?
That would ruin the game. So
Yeah,
it's like, so because last month it was High Noon, and then we were like, fuck it, we're doing a recent movie. Does High Noon now get struck from the list?
No.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
Stop doing your Robert De Niro face.
It's on Vincent's shirt.
I hadn't noticed that until now.
All right, so I guess we'll do the random number.
That's a great t-shirt.
AJ, do you want to do the cult classic list, or do you want me to do?
I can do it.
Oh no, you did it last time, didn't you? Because I remember you giving the clue about High Noon.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, you can do it.
All right. between 1 and 207. Oh, damn it. I'm just getting a Snapchat from Michael Griffin. What could that be about?
Crazy sexy love.
Yeah.
All right.
193.
Oh, whoops! I hit. Go again. Oh, okay. So 193 is a movie by someone who I've gone on record saying is one of, if not my favorite directors.
AJ.
Is it you buzzing in or answering?
Must be the Hobbit. It's the Hobbit. The third Hobbit movie, I think.
This was actually this is 193. This was the last one on the list when we started the list. Not that that'll help you, but the next one after it is Legend of the Guardians, the Owls of Gahul. So we almost got that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's directed by someone who it was in the quiz episode was revealed as my favorite director. If anyone can remember.
I mean, I know, but do other people want to guess?
Your favorite director is you two touching tummies.
Hey! Is it David Fincher?
Good Fincher.
It is David Fincher.
Fuck you, Vincent. Same time as
It's start with the.
It does.
The Fight Club.
The girl with the dragon tattoo?
No.
No.
No, the other one. Sometimes you gotta drop the.
The Seven.
No.
The Social Network.
Keep guessing. No.
It's not The Social Network.
It's not The Social Network.
Ah.
Spotlight.
No.
That's
No.
Spotlight.
The Gone Girl. The Gone Girl.
The Zodiac.
No. Came out in, I believe, 1997.
The Panic Room.
Oh yeah. No, that's
No.
Panic Room was like 2001.
2003.
97 Fincher was 7.
the Alien 3.
No.
Oh my God. How do we not know? We've
Fuck that movie.
Stars Hank Pym, Ant-Man.
Oh,
Ant-Man.
The Cruel Intentions.
No, and that's is he in Cruel Intentions? He's in Fatal Attraction, isn't he?
Sorry.
Fatal
Yes.
Attraction.
I apologize.
Sorry, what was it? Was it 90s or 2000s?
97. Yeah,
97. It
97.
was
it was the movie Fincher did after Seven.
yeah. Shit.
And you guys just lost it.
I really thought that the game.
Yeah.
All right.
We lost the game.
I thought you were saying we've
hate
lost our chance to roll that number. Okay, so that's option one.
Yeah.
All right.
The game, 1997 American thriller film directed by David Fincher, starring Michael Douglas and Sean Penn. All right, and then so yeah, how do we do it? So
we're the
out of the
keep or
1,
steal.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 movies came out in August 2011. So do I guess taking out all the franchise ones, Final Destination 5, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, Fright Night, Spy Kids, All the Time in the World, all came out 10 years ago this month.
Oh.
Yeah, do we just pick one and then that'll be the one?
I guess so.
Okay. Okay, well, okay. They actually, did they all start? No. Okay, two of them we could have a star from Crazy Stupid Love reappear next month. Would you guys want that, or would you want the third option?
So I accidentally looked this up earlier, but I know that because I was looking for other good movies of 2011 when we were talking about this was the best one, because I remembered mine was Bridesmaids was what I thought the best movie was.
Oh yeah.
But this might trump it. But so I saw that Emma Stone did No. Ryan Gosling did Drive in 2011, but I don't know if that would have come out at this point. And I think Emma Stone did another one in 2011.
All
right.
The House Bunny.
I guess
Dinner for Schmucks.
Dinner for
No.
Schmucks. Oh no.
Okay, here's my question. Whichever one you choose, Richard. Here's the question I think we should ask as a collective. Would you rather do this movie than the game?
One of your favorite directors or the House Bunny in this.
So I've never seen the game, and I've been wanting to for so long. I've seen 2 out of these 3, and one of them is like one of them is a movie that I'm like that is like everyone said it was good at the time, but I think time hasn't been very kind to it.
Let's do that one.
Has to be unanimous.
What do you guys want?
That sounds interesting.
So out of the 3, one of them is real bad, one of them is real good, and one of them I haven't seen.
Fuck.
Maybe our question should be, which one would be the best to talk about? Which one would we have the most conversation about?
That's true.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to eliminate one that I think would be the least to talk about.
What one was it?
What was it?
The Change Up.
Okay.
Starring Ryan Reynolds and Jason Bateman, where they swap.
Oh, that one. Fuck
bodies.
that one. Yep, fuck that one.
Okay, so you're left with a Ryan Gosling film and an Emma Stone film, or The Game starring Michael Douglas.
I think the Ryan Gosling film is Drive.
I think that is that the only. Fuck.
Do you want do you want that to be your question? Is the Ryan Gosling film Drive?
Do we do this? Or what's the game about?
It's like, have you seen The Man Who Knew Too Little? The Bill Murray film. And like Game Night, Game Night. It's like, is everything that's going on real, or is it just part of the game?
Okay. When you were talking about a David Fincher psychological thriller, I didn't immediately go to The Man Who Knew Too Little.
Fuck. If it's Drive, I so want to do it. Ugh.
All right, so you've got 3 options. I guess, we just unanimously choose between The Game, a Ryan Gosling film you don't know, or an Emma Stone film you don't know.
The question is, which would be the best one to talk about?
Is that, yeah?
Are you guys all
like
agreeing unanimously that that's the question?
Yeah.
Okay, well, what do you like talking about on Movie Club? Like, do you like to be like, oh, this film, or do you like to have like just a really good film, or yeah?
What do I like to talk about Movie Club? Not Dr. Zhivago. There.
Okay, let me have a look at which one is shortest.
Interesting.
Okay, the Ryan Gosling movie is the shortest one. So, I mean, that's always a bonus.
Yeah. Fuck.
Now, I should say that if we continue to choose to do this, we're only going to be watching 2011 movies for the next 5 months.
And maybe that's just what we do. I don't know. I still don't understand how this game works. I should have just chosen one film of these.
Oh, so maybe it should be The Game.
Maybe.
All right,
No.
I'm sick of this. We're doing the Emma Stone film.
Really?
Yep.
So you guys are all just letting AJ choose for you? That's what you want to do?
Nothing is going to happen if no one makes a decision.
I want Drive. I'm willing to bet. I'm going
fine.
on and Drive.
I concede. We're doing the Ryan Gosling film. That's 2. That's 2 votes.
2 votes, Brent, Michael.
Sure, we'll do the Ryan Gosling film.
Brent,
I haven't seen the game, but
what I say doesn't matter because it's already been a majority, right? So,
unanimous, not majority.
unanimous. Well, then I don't want to go all 12 Angry Men here, so I will concede to Ryan.
So
let's do it.
next month
Is
we
it
are
Drive?
watching the Ryan Gosling starring The Ides of March.
Forgot about that movie.
That's
Have you guys seen
2011.
it? It's
for you.
real good.
It's so fucking good.
Nice.
Are you serious? It's not Drive?
No.
When was Drive?
Thank you very much for watching. If you watched this, and thank you very much for joining us on Movie Club, everyone. Join us.
We'll
next
work
month.
out next month a better system for this.
Join us next month for the Ides of March. What a coincidence! We'll be watching the Ides of March in September. There we go. All right.
Just for people playing at home, Drive came out
September 16th.
right.
So it'll be
We're gonna watch
next
the
month.
September. All righty, everybody. Thank you for watching, and see you later.